Hi everyone, my name is Scott Schaller. I'm a PhD student at Indiana Tech and will be presenting key points from my paper, An Effort to Internationalize, a Review of Purdue University Northwest. In today's presentation, I will begin by giving a brief introduction, followed by a review of internationalization and an essential conceptual framework. I will conclude with a recommendation. Despite the challenges higher education institutions are having, they are surviving by continuing to develop. I like the quote from Zhang and Chen. More and more countries are realizing that education and reform have to be examined from a global lens. In response to this globalization phenomenon, higher education institutions across the globe have been internationalizing. So what is the definition of this trend, internationalization? Al-Sharari defined it the most comprehensively. Internationalization is a process of integrating an international, intercultural, or global dimension into the purpose, functions, or delivery of post-secondary education. Internationalization increased on campus in the late 1990s and early 2000s due to an increase of global matters and an increasing emphasis on student learning. Most recently, there have been three common themes as a result of the research. The first theme is the process of internationalization. Essentially, this refers to the various modalities and models that inform the process of internationalization. The second theme refers to the outcomes of internationalization. These appear to be at the national level since the countries have interest in developing their citizens to ultimately contribute to economic advancement. The third theme is related to governance. Research indicates that economies will have to adapt their governance procedure to maintain standards of academic quality at both public and private education institutions. Knowing that internationalization is a trend, how are higher education institutions implementing it? One way is by using the American Council on Education's comprehensive internationalization framework. Looking at the figure on the screen, this framework is driven by three different lenses. They are diversity, equity, and inclusion, data-informed decision-making, and agility and transformation. Within the three different lenses are 6 target areas. Those target areas include institutional commitment and policy, leadership and structure, curriculum and co-curriculum, faculty and support, mobility and partnerships. Each of these lenses and target areas play an integral part in internationalization. Let's look at the first lens, diversity, equity, and inclusion. This lens focuses on the role that institutions, individuals, and internationalization should play in racial, economic, and social justice. The second lens is a combination of agility and transformation. Agility represents an institution's willingness to anticipate disruptive forces. Transformation, on the other hand, is strategic in nature. Higher education institutions intentionally align and integrate policies, programs, initiatives, and individuals. The third and final lens is from a data-informed decision-making perspective. This lens ensures that internationalization, including goals, progress, and outcomes, are developed from proper assessments. These three lenses are basically the backbone to the comprehensive international framework's target areas. First, the institutional commitment and policy target requires internationalization as a priority in an institutional strategic plan. Addressing the following questions are essential for commitment to global engagement. First question, what does internationalization mean to our institution? Second, why should our institution internationalize? Third, what role will the institution play locally and nationally? And fourth, who are the stakeholders that the institution should involve in decision making? The leadership and structure target ensures that there are appropriate structures in place for internationalization and transformation. Task forces, international leadership, and adequate human and financial resources are required for critical support. The curriculum target area is essentially the pathway for all students to learn. To ensure that this curriculum is appropriately supported, institutions should require that their undergraduate general education curricula focus on foreign language, regional studies, and global issues. Institutions should also require courses in each major program of study, discipline, or research area to be internationalized by incorporating international perspectives. Institutions should ensure that learners have an opportunity to learn from co-curriculum programs and activities that address global issues and engage with culturally diverse individuals and local community. Also, institutions should use technology such as collaborative international online learning, or COIL, to enhance global learning. ACE also stresses that faculty and support's commitment is imperative to the success of internationalization. To ensure this target area is successful, it is suggested that institutions should state within their tenure and promotion policies that international work and experience be considered when decisions concerning tenure and promotion arise. Institutions should also include criteria such as international and diverse backgrounds within their hiring guidelines. And also, institutions should expect to reward and encourage on-campus professional development of intercultural competencies. Mobility stresses the need to move university assets such as people, policies, and programs into the university and to other countries to engage in collaboration, learning, and research. To ensure this target area is successful, it is suggested that institutions make virtual global education opportunities available to all students. Also, institutions should provide student financial aid to approve study abroad programs, as well as ensure that there are appropriate structures and programs in place to support international students. The final target area addresses partnerships and networks. ACE recommends the following for institutions. Institutions are encouraged to partner with organizations, governments, and communities abroad. Examples of these types of partnerships include student exchanges and research collaborations. Also, institutions are encouraged to collaborate with local organizations, governments, and individuals due to the often deep international cross-cultural connections they provide. The second part of this study was to review PNW's strategic plan and COB programming learning outcomes. The review of the strategic plan resulted in three key takeaways, that is. Basically, the mission and vision addressed importance of the Chicago metropolitan area. It did not necessarily address international at all, especially in the mission, vision, core values, and strategic plan themes. There is no mention of internationalization in any of those. But the strategic plan did mention and describe diversity, equity, inclusion as a core value. The PLO mapping review resulted in a major gap. First, the PLOs that this review concentrated on were PLO 2.1, PLO 2.2, and PLO 2.3 listed in the figure on the screen. The overall goal representing these three states that our graduates will have a global mindset. The 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 represent objectives associated to this goal. The 2.1 represents our students will identify or describe the global issues faced by organizations. 2.2 represents our students will analyze and explain the impact of global issues faced by organizations. And 2.3 is represented by our students will apply their analysis to the organization situation and make insightful recommendations. Looking at the mapping on the screen, the A stands for assess and E stands for expose. We calculated some percentages based on this figure. Only 14% of relevant courses are assessed according to PLO 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. And only 16% of the relevant courses are exposed according to PLO 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. As a result of this study, it is recommended for PNW to address their strategic plan and College of Business curriculum by utilizing ACE's comprehensive internationalization framework and toolkit. It is apparent that PNW's message is inconsistent and also inconsistent in the curriculum within the College of Business. The major gap that we saw did not include internationalization throughout all of the courses. So for a future study, it would be encouraged that P&W identify what courses, if not all, should be internationalized to stay consistent with the messaging. With the guidance of this framework and internationalization toolkit, P&W can align itself institutionally and with the international community, not only with the Chicago metropolitan area. I would like to leave you with a few references that were used during this study. Thank you, everyone. And if there are any questions about this, please reach out to me through email, as you see on the screen. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.